Good day, everyone. I am teacher Shan Florence B. Fernandez, and welcome to part 4 of tackling about constructing non-cognitive skills assessments. So let's now tackle about student self-assessment. So, what is student self-assessment? Student self-assessment is a process in which students monitor and evaluate their learning and performance. So, student self-assessment is an excellent strategy for formative assessment and non-cognitive assessment since students give themselves immediate feedback based on specific aspects of their performance according to standards and criteria. So, and make the adjustments on how or what they are learning. So the purpose of student self-assessment is to develop students' metacognitive science inquiry of knowledge. So it is a self-assessment engages students deeply in self-observations and making judgment about their work, identifying their discrepancies between current and desired performance. So this align to closely to what is emphasized in standard-based education because such thinking implies an understanding of performance targets and the criteria that are used to indicate success. So that is student self-assessment. So what is self-monitoring? To simply put, so self-monitoring means you are paying attention to your own behavior, so thoughts and emotions, so you can understand and control them better. So it helps the student notice how they act in different situations and whether their actions match their goals or values. For example, a student's practicing self-monitoring might track how often they get distracted during homework and then they try different strategies to stay focused. So in social situations, someone who self-monitors might adjust how they speak or act depending on who they are with. So that is self-monitoring, which is also useful in non-cognitive assessment under student self-assessment. Next is metacognition. So what is metacognition? So metacognition involves skills that are directly influenced by self-assessment. So it is an awareness and regulations of their own thinking and learning processes. It represents a critical non-cognitive skills that influences academic and personal success. So by measuring metacognitive skills, so non-cognitive assessment can show how well someone manages their own learning and behavior. So these skills are important in school, work, and everyday life because they help people solve problems, stay focused, and keep trying when things get hard. So, why is this important? So, first, for self-regulation. So, it helps students control their learning process by setting goals, managing time, and staying focused. Second is for ownership of learning. So, it encourages students to take responsibility for their own learning and progress, increasing engagement and accountability. And then, third is for metacognitive awareness. So it develops students' ability to think about their own thinking, allowing them to choose better strategies and improve learning outcomes. And then fourth is motivation and confidence. So seeing progress boosts students' belief in their abilities, encouraging a growth mindset and persistence. Five is it enhances critical thinking and reflection. So it promotes deeper thinking through self-evaluation, helping students analyze and improve their learning methods. And then lastly is personalized learnings. It enables students to recognize their own needs and adapt their learning strategies, supporting more effective and individualized learning. So, how does the non-cognitive assessment is done? Let's take a look at my given topic. So my topic is Baitang 10, unang markahan pagpapatibay ng sariling pagpapahalaga, tungo sa mapanagutang pagpapasya, content 4, pagpapatibay ng pansariling ugnayan sa Diyos, tungo sa makapuluhang buhay. So how will I going to implement the assessment? So first is I'm going to have them as self-reflection journal for the non-cognitive assessment. So why self-reflection journal? So this method allows students to pause and think deeply about their personal relationship with God. So writing reflections help them become more aware of their spiritual journey, which will help them go closer to God and live a meaningful life. What they are doing, what challenges they face, and how they can grow further will be enhanced through self-reflection journal. And then number two is Likert scale survey. I will make them use a survey. self-survey. So here, students rate how often or how through certain faith-based behaviors are in their lives every day. For example, are they doing daily prayer, showing faith through words and actions, or choosing forgiveness? So is it important? Because this makes spiritual growth measurable in a simple ways. It shows patterns, whether their faith practices are consistent or only occasionals. This helps teachers guide them in areas where they may struggle, like prayer habits or showing kindness. So number three is what I'll make them to do is peer and teacher observation as a non-cognitive assessment. So faith is not only personal but also must be visible in actions. Teachers and classmates can observe if these particularly students live out their values through respect, kindness, forgiveness, and care for others. So why is it important? Sometimes students may write or rate themselves positively without anyone seeing them, but true faith is shown in action. Observation ensures that what they say in journals and surveys matches how they act in real life, so it must be correlated. So how is it done? So orientation, students need to understand that this is not graded exam. It meant to help them grow in faith and values without pressure. This builds trust and sincerity in answering. So in implementation, so the teacher applies three tools. Students write their journals weekly, take the survey at certain times, and are observed during class and activities. This make assessments continuous, not just a one-time task. Third is combined results. So each tool measures something different. So journal, it measures depth of reflection. Survey, it measures consistency of practice. And then observations, it measures real life actions. So when they are combined, they give fuller and more accurate picture of students' growth. And then last one is feedback. So instead of giving grades to non-cognitive assessments that I'm going to formulate, the teacher gives constructive feedback. For example, encouraging a student to pray more regularly or affirming his or her kindness to her classmates. This keeps the focus of growth, reflections, and character building rather than performance. And this is how I can formulate the non-cognitive assessments in my given topic.